Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Act like you know how this goes.
G'day, I'm Glenn Morris from the Smart Energy Lab. And today in the lab, I've got my friend Yuri Battens. He's from a company which we'll learn more about in a minute, but I've known Yuri for quite a while. So Yuri, I mean, you came to Australia, what, how long ago?
About 10, 11 years ago.
Right, and what brought you here? A girl?
Not at that time. There's girls throughout my history, but not that particular time. No. I got the visa, skilled migrant visa. Was in Malaysia at that time and hopped over, came to Australia, found a job here with Ecult, who unfortunately no longer exists. And yeah, that's how I ended up in Australia about 10 years ago. And then, yeah, with Ecult, I stayed there, 5-6 years. Found some interesting girl in Myanmar through Ecult. Ended up in Myanmar for about a year and a half, trying to set up a company in renewable energy there. But then, yeah, of course, the military coup happened there.
Yeah,
and
wow.
That was still fun the first 2-3 weeks. But then when the military started shooting people, I said, okay, let's go back to Australia. Ended up with Relectify in Melbourne. And then, yeah, all of a sudden I got a call from you saying, hey, somebody's interested in offering you a job maybe with this Belgian company. Would you be interested? So, yeah, I obviously... had a chat with them, and it turned out to be CE&T Power.
So this is a wonderful circle. You come from Belgium to Australia, work here for a very advanced lead-acid company, Ecult.
Yep.
And that's how we met, because you actually installed the Ecult system here, the Ultraflex, which, by the way, was a really impressive piece of kit. I'm kind of sad that company didn't continue, because they made lead-acid smart again. Proper lead-acid BMS control systems, which was pretty impressive. But then...
and make it charge like a lithium at the 1C rate.
That's right, a 1C lithium equivalent. So pretty impressive. But the change came about with moving to you were working in India, then you went to Myanmar, met your partner, future wife,
current wife. Yeah.
Sorry, she was your. Yeah, I'll get it around the right way. But anyway. Yeah. You've got a child too now.
Yep. So, yeah, picked up the wife in Myanmar and we made a baby.
Yep.
And, yeah, he was born 3 weeks before the military coup.
Wow.
So, yeah, he didn't have any papers yet when the military coup happened.
And on top of this, it was the middle of COVID.
It was the middle of COVID as well.
Right, so just the easiest time to travel anywhere in the world.
Yeah, exactly,
right.
exactly, yeah.
But so no passport, job with no passport, a military coup, COVID lockdowns.
Yep.
But you made it back.
Yep, we made it back.
Yeah. Wow, I'm so happy. And then this thing that drew you back to Belgium just through the connection. So, we better mention the name. It was CE+T. So CE+T, it's not... a very well-known brand in Australia yet, but we're kind of hoping to change that.
We certainly do.
Yeah. So tell me a bit about your journey with CE+T.
Yeah. So just after I got hired, they got me back to Belgium for a couple of weeks, do the technical training.
Why did you need technical training? You know all about inverters and batteries. And
I know a lot, but specific technical training.
So isn't CE+T just another inverter manufacturer?
Not really.
No, right.
Not really. So,
this is the Dorothy Dix question, by the way, because I know the answer too. But let's talk about this very interesting company.
Did you want to answer as well?
No, but I just realised I'm pigeonholing it too early, and it's not really just a company that make converters. For a start, how long has this company been around?
Over 30 years.
Yeah, I think longer than that even. But they've been very well known in a certain space. Like, it's not
In UPS.
UPS.
In UPS world. Yeah.
Critical applications, super high reliability, telecommunications, rail, where stuff mustn't go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the core technology is all based on the double conversion.
Now, that's the clever thing. So I just, said it's not just another inverter company. In fact, it's the product, Sierra is one of their products, right?
Yeah.
Is what we've got here at the Smart Energy Lab. And I'm doing some sort of development or testing with a battery company here with it. It's like nothing else. There's kind of nothing quite the same as the Sierra.
Yeah, it's, I think, one part because it's the double conversion, and the second bit is that it's a modular system that you can.
So explain double conversion.
So in the double conversion, you rectify basically your AC or incoming source to a DC. You've got inside a common DC bus bar, and then you invert it again and get out a very clean sine wave.
Right. So why do you need to do that?
Other inverters, let's put it that way, kind of work parallel onto the grid and just have relays. When the grid disappears, they'll disconnect and feed through their inverter, but you'll have a small glitch or a small timeout between switching from the grid and getting inverted. With the double conversion, you don't see any glitch whatsoever. Any kind of noise or glitch that's on your grid side will never ever travel back to the output.
Right. So it's really just an energy transfer system that ensures that the output is always consistent. It's always, in this case, sinusoidal.
Yep.
It can be single, three-phase, split phase,
Yep.
anything you like, really, by using multiples of the Sierra units.
Yep.
Yeah. But on the input side, it can be dirty grid, dirty generator, doesn't matter, because that's not directly coupled.
Correct.
All right. So
Between the input and output,
Yeah.
actually, there's a tiny little phase shift
now that's the bit that's really interesting. So
of about 5 degrees.
I hadn't realized this initially when I first looked at the Sierra, that actually it's frequency linked, but shifted.
Yeah.
Now, why is that?
So to detect or to try to detect if somebody made a ridiculous mistake and coupled the output circuit somehow back to the grid.
Right. All right. You can miswire it and it can detect it.
Yeah. So if you have non-critical loads or you have critical loads and they're somehow connected further down the line,
Yep.
you can detect that because with the tiny phase shift we have between the input and the output, there's basically a small 20-volt sine wave between the two.
Yes.
And if that sine gets shorted, we know somebody made a mistake. So that's the purpose of just shifting 5 degrees between the input and the output.
But there's also another practical application, which is it's guaranteed export zero. Like if you try to send power from another AC coupled inverter onto the load side, it can stop that leaking out to the grid because it's actually a converter and it's got to see that and choose to do that.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I mean it's capable of exporting.
Yeah.
But it chooses whether it does it or not. So in a way, it's better than just a smart meter upstream that says, "Oh, don't export now. I can see some leaking out to the grid." Mm-hmm. So it's more like secondary protection systems you might have on a CNI system built into the module itself.
Yeah. You really have to force it to export.
Yeah, right. That's pretty cool. But the thing that most people find amazing is the form factor. I mean, you think of inverters as boxes like this. Let's call it a converter because it's more than just an inverter.
Yeah.
But it's only like 100 mil square roughly or something. It's about this big on the front.
One module is.
Yeah, and deep. So I think I'll probably pop a picture of it there so we'll see one right now. But the form factor means that it's a rack-based system, so 19-inch rack.
Yep, 19-inch rack. And then each module is about 2.5 kilowatt kVA.
Yeah.
And then you can just slot in more or less as you need.
Now, that's the other big plus. It's hot swappable too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, from the history of the company, they come out of highly critical UPS.
Yep.
Save the load. Anything for the load.
Save the load. I like that term.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's kind of the company motto as well. Like that,
Yeah.
Priority is the load, maintain the load.
Yeah.
Right? And in that, of course, there's redundancy. And that philosophy has trickled down to the Shara, which is now kind of the product that they're entering the renewable energy market with. Previously, it was only take energy from the grid or a battery and provide us a clean sine wave.
Yeah.
But now the Shara module is bidirectional in all directions.
Yeah.
So we can charge a battery or discharge a battery, and we can feed back into the grid.
Or if you're off grid, you could feed it with a generator.
Yeah.
So
But then you don't
fit
off-
backfeed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I often say it's hard to convert electricity back to diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite hot. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So it's modular, it's hot swappable. Its history is super reliability. Save the load. I love that. Save the load.
Yeah.
I can see those criteria for telecommunication and rails is really important, but I'd say it's really important for off-grid systems too, which is people want the power to be on. You know, if you're on grid and you've got an inverter with a battery, it's kind of a feel-good thing. You've always got the grid. Well, occasionally it might blip out, but off-grid, it's all or nothing.
Yeah. And with the modular approach, you've got redundancy.
Yeah.
So you'd lose only 2.5 kilowatt per module that you lose.
Yeah. So
Whereas if you got one monolithic inverter,
you lose it all.
you lose it all.
Yeah. So that is another big plus in terms of like reliability and resilience, that you've got that N plus reliability. You can actually have spares online too that just come on when you need them. Though you're probably silly, you might as well use them. But there was another kind of thing that appealed to me, which as a designer of standalone systems, sizing them for the load is such a challenge. You go through this process with the customer and you find out what they want to run, and they don't tell you the truth. They forget to mention that there is a septic system out the back with a pump on it, because it's messy stuff, you don't think about it. They forget to mention that they've got a air compressor in the shed, which has got a horrible surge rating.
Yeah.
And so you size the system for what the customer told you, and then they ring you up and say, oh, it's just shut down, Glenn. Come and fix it. You discover that there's more load than they ever told you. So how can Sierra solve that problem?
Just add a few more modules. Just plug them in.
And it's literally plug them in.
It's literally plug them in. They're hot swappable. So even if you take a brand new module coming out of the factory, which is not configured, you just swap it in, or you plug it in. It'll talk to its neighbors, like, "Hey guys, what are we doing here?" It'll extract the config file from either the main controller or a module next to it. Know what it's doing, and start running with the gang.
That's amazing. So literally, the customer says it's not working very well, Glenn. They say, I'll just post you an upgrade, and the customer can just plug it in. It's not electrical work.
No.
Right. Yeah. So that is so appealing. It's not just off gridders. I think that utilities who want field serviceable units, that's a big plus too.
Yeah, I can see quite a lot of potential for the SAP systems that they're particularly rolling out in WA or something. If there's a module broken, it'll flash red and whatnot, so you can easily send a non-technical guy with a new module. Or girl. Politically correct. Out in the sticks and just tell them, open that box, look for the red light, pull that out, put this one in, close the box.
Right.
And Bob's your uncle.
So as long as they can see the difference between red and green, they're good to change stuff.
Sure.
Okay, well, it's the base unit, the Sierra, is what, 2.4 kilowatts output? Is it kVA or kilowatts?
kVA.
Okay, so
4 kVA.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But how big can you go? You can put 4 of them in. Go to nearly 10.
Can go 30 in one controller, but then you can add on gateways and you add more 30, so 90 in one system, and then you can extend that, and you can put 90 and 90 and 90, and we can get up to a megawatt.
Whoa, a megawatt. Okay, that's a nice range. So we have a product that goes from 2.4 kilowatts to a megawatt. Take your pick. And by the way, you can move up if you wish. Right. Correct. But of course, you don't have to, but you probably want to connect it to a battery system, right? What sort of battery voltages are you going to work at?
So there's in the Sierra range, there's 3 brackets. There's the 48 volt, 110, and 380.
Right. So high voltage batteries too.
Yep.
Yeah. So that would really suit those CNI applications where you want to keep your currents down. You don't want thousands of amps. Yeah.
Yep. And that's in the Sierra range. In the stability range, there's another product that we carry,
Yeah.
which has 1,000 volt on the DC side.
So you've just mentioned another product, the stability, which kind of is a segue to the fact that CE plus T make a range of different products. And we've been talking about the Sierra. The stability, what's that?
It's an interesting concept. It'll have a 3-phase AC on one side and 2 DC on the other side. And you can kind of configure it the way you want. But DC voltage range is up to 1,000.
So you could have PV and battery as your 2 DC sources.
Yep.
And they could be up to 1,000 volts each.
Yep.
And 3-phase AC.
Yep.
As an output or input.
Yep.
Wow. So it can move energy
Yep.
at high DC voltages and at 3-phase AC voltages.
Correct. And differentiator with that product. So typically you either have a AC DC DC AC conversion. In the stability, in the core, there's a transformer running at resonance frequency and kind of acting like a flywheel.
Ah.
And any DC energy or AC energy that is being transferred between either 3 of the legs
Yes.
is kind of just a little parcel of energy that's put on the flywheel. It spins around and it comes out.
But it's not a
DC.
flywheel, right?
No, it's not a flywheel, but it's conceptually.
Conceptually, right.
It's like a turbine
Yes.
where you can just shove energy in
Yes.
in AC or DC format, and you pull it out in AC or DC format in the other way.
Without having to have separate products that do discrete.
Without several
Yeah.
steps of conversion.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
jumps, the conversion efficiency very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the 2 products, but maybe we'll just talk a bit about, why you've been hired here in Australia. What's happening with with CE plus T in Australia?
Yeah. So CNT have a long history and good market in Europe, where we're coming from. There's another CNT America, which has done quite a lot of work in building up the market there. Asia Pacific and so is a little bit less developed or less known market for us. With my hiring now, the intention is that we get companies set up and we'll soon have an office. And with that, we'll start building up the technical competence and service basically the whole of Asia Pacific.
It's not just an Australian office, an Asia Pacific office. Wow.
The office will be in Sydney, but we service basically, Asia Pacific will be the intention that I kind of copy all the technical knowledge from Belgian headquarters.
Yes.
And have a duplicate here.
So it'll just be you and Ian with 10 phones in front of you?
Sort of, yeah.
No, I think you're going to get bigger than that, right?
Yeah. There are plans to grow fast in the coming years.
Yes.
So there's a ×3 growth path for us plotted in the next 3-4 years.
So maybe just coming back to just discussing the Sierra again, sort of off camera, Ian, who's just sitting out the back there minding his own business, who's been looking after CE plus T for some years here in Australia, you drew the analogy that the Sierra is kind of like the engine in a car. It's a component that partners will use to produce end products.
Yep.
So you've got partners already in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they've got their own markets, and you are providing your unique engine to them.
Yeah. We're only providing the conversion part, basically.
That's right.
So you still need a battery you need to put in a box.
Yeah.
But CNT does not do all that. So we work through partners who can assemble everything, who have their own access to certain markets in railway or renewable energy or
Right. So there might be a battery company who needs power conversion equipment. There might be an integrator who produce a certain solution and they need PCE and batteries. And
Yeah.
those are your partners.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is the model that C+T have worked with for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Throughout the world, we still work through partners who have the relationship with the customers, and we supply them with the power conversions.
Yeah. So the end user won't be ringing C+T. That would be more the partners with.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Just don't put your phone number on the front of the box.
No.
Yeah. I remember an inverter company saying to me, because their name is the first thing the customer rings, with irrespective of whether it's the battery or anything else to do with their whole home, they ring them.
Yeah. Because that's the brand they see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we need to build our brand a little bit because we're not particularly known yet. In the side of a.
And it's kind of unusual, it's letters with a plus in the middle. So, yeah, it's kind of fun. I just noticed the URL is slightly different because you can't do a plus in a URL. So, tell me, what's the web address? CET-power.com. Yeah. You've got to put that hyphen in, guys, because otherwise you go to some other non-associated business.
Exactly.
I'll put a link in the description. But anyway, maybe we'll just wind things up here because I know you've got an important commitment, family commitment to go to, so I don't want to keep you from that. Mm-hmm. But look, I've been very impressed. Like, I should be straightforward about this. I have been to Belgium and I've had some training from C+T so I could better understand how it works, because here at the lab, I'm often testing equipment. I should know how it works. And so C+T were kind enough to fly me over to Belgium, and it was really, really interesting trip. So you'll hear more from me about this product once we get it up and running here at the lab. But thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Fumble a bag, now I will not fumble a bag. Act like you know how this goes.